born missing bones in my legs, making me pretty short. People often wonder what my condition is called, and I know I was told the name once. But the thing is about me, I never really felt like I had a condition at all, so it doesn't really matter to me, and yeah. I understand why. It's human nature. They're not trying to be mean, and I know if they're showing compassion for me, it's their way. But it still kind of hurts, because this is my life, and it's not sad. I focus on what I do have. I've always believed that everything happens for a reason, and you should do the best you can with what you've got. I feel I am very fortunate. I have an amazing family, the best friends, great health, an awesome job, and a man that loves me. How many people can say they have all that? In fact, people who know me say how fortunate I am. I didn't always have this much confidence though. Up until I was 19, I wore artificial legs that made me taller. Sort of like stilts, but with shoes. I wanted to look like everyone else. I was about 5 foot tall, and I had to work so hard at balancing so I wouldn't fall over. As hard as I tried to look and be like everyone else though, it just wouldn't work. I was still judged, and I felt like I would never be accepted. This was so frustrating because I wanted this so bad, and it just wasn't possible. The way I saw it, I was like everyone else. But when people saw me, their first impression was that I wasn't. When I moved out of Brampton into my own place in the city, it hit me why I could never be like everyone else. I'm not. That's when I realized I really didn't want to be like everyone else after all. I loved who I was, and I wanted to stand out as much as I could. I stopped wearing my prosthetic legs, and my confidence soared because I was finally living as me. I wasn't pretending to be someone else. I was becoming comfortable in my own shoes, on my own feet. I'm unique and happy, and I wouldn't change a thing about me if I could. I wanted to give people a different first impression of me, so I started coloring my hair bright colors, and I bought new clothes to accent who I was. I wanted my confidence to shine. Now, I was showing the world I am a happy, strong, independent woman who is living a remarkable life. Life has been so good, and I've been so fortunate to be given so many great opportunities. Too many to share them all with you today. But while I've got you here, I'd love to tell you about a few of them. So my favorite band growing up, I love punk rock. My favorite band growing up was a band called NoFX. And in, I think, 2000, they wrote a song about me on one of their albums. Yeah, it was amazing. And since then, I've got to, go side stage at all their concerts. And one year, they even invited me to Los Angeles to sing with them at a New Year's show, which is super fun. Now, who here knows who Richard Branson is? Okay, that's more like it. So, Richard Branson has always been an inspiration of mine. And for about 8 years, I actually worked for Virgin Mobile Canada. And while I worked there, I got to meet him, and it was the best day ever. And then Richard gives out these awards every year, kind of like what you guys do. His are best of his companies. So best of this, best of that, and all the companies in the world. And one year in 2009, I won best customer service of all of his companies in the whole world. And it was an honor to win that because his companies are amazing. And I was flown to London, England to go to a fancy schmancy dinner with him and some other fancy people, and to receive my award from Richard. And then he ended up getting a little tipsy, and he invited me to spend a week on his private island. About a woman named Princess Diana. Do you know who she is? So in 2011, I was chosen to present flowers to Princess Diana when she came to Toronto. I was 11 years old, and not 2011, 1991. I'm the worst with numbers. When I was 11, and I presented flowers with her, and she was a delight, and that was an honor and a super memorable experience. I also feel very, very fortunate to be speaking with you all today. So how about I get into some of the challenges I faced in my life and how I've overcome them. If I can make a difference in just one person's life, my job here is big. This was going to be my most exciting adventure yet. My parents helped me move my stuff in, and I was quick to send them off with the kids back home. I couldn't wait to decorate my new room, meet some awesome new people, and check out a killer concert in the big city. When I woke up on my first morning in my new home, eager to start a new day, it dawned on me. I'd never put my own socks on before. I didn't even know how. Living with a large family, there was always someone to put them on for me, and now I was alone. At first, I started to panic a bit. How am I going to do this? But then I thought to myself, well, I've got to go outside, so I have to figure this out. And that was it. I could have asked someone to put them on for me, but in my mind, those socks had to get on my feet every day for the rest of my life. There wasn't always going to be someone around to help me. So in my mind, I had to do whatever it took to figure out a way to put on those socks. So at first, I took my sock and I hooked it onto the corner of my desk to try and swoop my foot in. That did not work at all. And then I looked around my room for a tool. I had to think fast, I had to go to school. And I found a hanger, which I thought was going to be a super idea. But while attempting the hanger trick, which was not going well at all, I ended up switching to my most favorite tool of all, my feet. Ever try putting on your socks with your feet? It's actually quite tricky. But after many attempts and my Taurian stubbornness, I did it. It wasn't easy at first. In fact, that first time it took me over 30 minutes to put on those damn socks. But because I knew I couldn't give up, I just needed to figure it out so I wouldn't give up. Now the funny thing is, these days I do whatever I can to avoid wearing socks. Not because it's hard for me, because I'm actually really good at it, but because my feet are my hands. And besides, I love sandals and open-toed shoes. I think I was meant to live in California or the Caribbean or something, I swear. Bullying is a topic that is really close to my heart because I know how it feels to be ostracized. I know how it feels to be made fun of for looking different and being different. I know the feeling of wanting to change myself so I'll just fit in. This was my childhood. When I sat down to think of times that I was bullied to share with you all today, I couldn't even think of one, which I thought was kind of weird. But then when I really thought about it, I realized I've been bullied pretty much every day of my life, and it still happens to me today. Some of the times it's verbal bullying, other times it's just people's actions, which actually hurts more. It's, as a kid, kids not asking me to play with them at recess, or going to the school dance alone. This was my childhood, and it truly hurt. I had these two besties growing up, Heidi and Danielle. We were friends for years, the three of us. But as soon as grade 7 hit and the cliques started forming, they couldn't be my friend anymore. They were part of the cool girls clique, and I was not. Anytime I asked them to hang out, to play with them at recess, or maybe to work on a school project together, they'd say no. And I always wondered what I did for them to not want to be my friend, and I never knew until now. I realized I was being bullied, and it sucked. Like I said, it happens to me every day. Well, look at me. Just the other day, my family and I were walking across the parking lot to go into a store. I think her small children, 3 boys, and one of the boys saw me and said, "Ew, look at that." And that didn't feel too good, but I just kept walking and staying positive and minding my own business. And when we almost reached the store, that feeling when you can tell somebody's behind you? I turn around and I see that mother beelining it to me with her, pulling her son by the wrist. I was like, oh, he's in trouble. And I turn around and the mother says, excuse me, my son has something he'd like to say to you. And he looked up from the biggest frown. He said, I'm sorry. And then the mom said, do you have anything you'd like to ask the nice lady? And he said, do you have no hands? And I said, no, I don't have any hands, and I was born like this, and it's great because everyone's born different, and that's what makes us special. Isn't that cool? And he was like, yeah, that is cool. And you know what? That woman was a super mom to me. Do you know how many times kids say, not even mean things like, ooh, look at that, but wow, mommy, look at her, she doesn't have any hands, or wow, look at her, or she's little, it's not a bad thing. I would look at me, it's not a bad thing. But more times than not, the mom or dad usually says, stop it, don't do that, pulls their kid away like they did something wrong. And that kid will never learn that it's okay to ask questions, it's okay to approach people, and people are different. And that kid is going to think twice next time he sees someone who's different. And I know not everyone is as approachable as I am, but if you see someone that's different, smile at them, say hi, and teach your kids that it's okay to talk to people who are different and to ask them questions, because more times than not, people like photo has been taken from me and put on many different sites without my permission and given horrible derogatory titles like weird mutant midget or ugly bowling midget. If you could go to the next slide. This is one of the photos that was on most of the sites that somebody took from me, and I think this is actually a pretty cool photo. I was in Las Vegas and I was bowling, and I'm a really good bowler. No, not that good. But for no arms, I'm amazing. And yeah, this photo was called Ugly Bowling Midget, and that's not even the worst part. There was pages and pages and pages of the most horrible comments. Like I can't even tell you. You'd be so hurt. It's so bad. And it's like a car crash. I just sit there reading these horrible things that people who don't even know me are saying about me. And it's hilarious because they don't know me. And they're hiding behind their computers. And I'm here to say that I'm a real person. And just because you think that you can hide behind your computer, not you, them, and make fun of these people in these photos, well, we are real people. And instead of, being sad and depressed and feeling sorry for myself, I decided I wanted to stand up and raise awareness and say it's not okay. And last year I actually went on CBC radio and television to speak about these stories and to raise awareness and to say it's not okay. Because unfortunately there's not much we can do about cyberbullying. It's going to happen, but all we can do is stay positive and raise awareness and, just let people know that it's not okay. Thank you. Earlier that I had a big family, but I didn't tell you that I was adopted. I was born in Montreal, and I was put up for adoption immediately and put into a nursery in a hospital because my birth parents felt like they couldn't care for a child like me. Thank you so much. After 13 months living in a nursery in a hospital, I was adopted by the amazing Gina and Ray. Gina and Ray became my parents, and I joined a family of 22 people at my house. I had Black brothers and sisters, Chinese, Vietnamese, and a bunch of Aboriginal siblings too. There was 20 years age difference between the youngest and the oldest, and we were all super different. It was always a party at the Osborn house. My mother cooked huge pots of the most delicious food, and there was always someone around to laugh with. Plus, with that many people in one house, we were never bored. People wonder how I dealt with being adopted, but I don't even remember having to deal with it. I know a lot of parents have a hard time telling their child that he or she was adopted, but I don't even remember my parents ever telling me. Looking around my kitchen table and seeing how different everyone was, it was just known that we were adopted. It was also known that we were very, very loved because we were chosen. And we were wanted so much that our parents had to fight to be able to take us home. And so I learned at a very young age to be accepting of all people. No matter the age, the gender, the ability, the size, the color of our skin, of all of my siblings, we were all considered equal. And that's how I treat people today. Everyone's beautiful in their own way. And to me, beauty is confidence. If you can shine, even though you're different, this is beauty. If you can look in the mirror and smile, even though you may not be perfect, this is beauty. If you can look at someone else who's different from you and see their goodness, this is beauty. Wear what accents your unique body and rock it. If you can stand up and say, this is who I am, beautiful. Before I go, I'd like to leave you with some food for thought. Life is awesome. You are beautiful. Be yourself, love yourself, and don't let others get you down. Stay positive and appreciate all of the good things you've got going on. Use the gifts you've got to help others, which I know you're all doing. Share the love. If you see someone get knocked down, help them up. And whenever possible, rock out like no one's looking. Thank you.